Hey there, hero. Yeah, I don't have the rank for that. That doesn't even sound right. Shout out to One Punch Dad. I watch a lot of his videos. It's funny. He's a good one officer. So, as you know who I am, you know what I'm here for. You recognize this color shirt. You know what it is. Today we're talking about retirement in a reserve. This is something I received a lot of questions about from airmen, from NCOs, from people who are in, people who aren't. Basically, everyone who's not retired has asked me about it, and they wanted me to go over and explain it. And all I've been telling them is just points. You need points, lots of points, a whole bunch of points. Points are what matter. Points, 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 points. Well, what does that mean? The long and short of it is, it is about points. It's not a bad answer, it's not a wrong answer, but it is the truth. Now, to be clear, retiring from the reserves is not like active duty. You do 20 years in active duty, collect your money immediately. The reserves, it ain't like that. You can still get a good pension. You can make out all right, but there's some caveats to it. Basically, the more work you put in, the more you're going to get paid on the back end. But I'm like better to lead. Let's get into it. All right. So first things first. What the heck is reserve retirement? It's similar to active duty retirement, but it ain't. You do 20 good years, you can retire, but you start collecting after you're 60, kind of. So that's the main difference. Like with active duty retirement, you work full time, you do 20 years, boom, you collect it. It's pretty much 50% of your base pay. Pretty straightforward. Reserve retirement, it's not that complicated, but it's not the same. But you can get a full time pension for part time pay. You got to wait till you're 60. Um, I'm gonna go into it more, but just saying like that's the main difference. Is it isn't just straight that there's points, there's a calculation, and you collect money when you're 60. I know guys who got into like the Army or the Marine Corps, any branch of service, in like their early 20s, their mid 40s, and retired like forever, which is crazy. But it's all about decisions. If you're in that early age range, or if you're even mid 30s, or hell, even if you're pushing 40 and thinking like, all right, is the reserve something I want to do? Will it, is it worth it for me? It can be. It can be. You can collect a nice retirement, but just understand that you're typically, with exceptions, going to be collecting that money after you hit 60. All right, so I kept saying points, points, points. What the hell are points? You get a point for every day that you're working, with some exceptions. So, as a reservist, every drill period, if you looked at my pay period, if you looked at my pay video, every drill is 4 periods. So each period gives you a point. You come up for the weekend, that's 4 points. You get 15 points just for being in. Doesn't matter what branch, you're reservist, they give you 15 points. 4 per drill. Then when you're on orders, like for your annual tour, those 2 weeks the commercial talks about, excuse me, you get a point a day. Not a dollar. Geez, that would be so bad. So if you're good at math, you're keeping track. That's 15 points per year. That's 48 points for drills, and another 15 for your annual tour. I think it's like 78. Yeah, 78 feels about right. Now, to be clear, you can earn points other ways. Basically, anytime you're ordered to put on Old Faithful over there, you're going to be, if you're ordered to be here in your uniform, you're getting a point per day. So if your unit has something, hey, we need you to come in for 3 days, you probably get a point per day. We need you to go, you're going to a school that's going to be 3 weeks long, where there's 21 points. You're going to a school that's 6 months long. That's, 180 points. If you're going to deployment, you're going to be going for a year. That's 365 points. Anytime you're ordered to be there, you're going to be getting basically a point per day. That's generally how it works out. All right, so we established you need points. Lots of points. You get points a bunch of ways. What do points? I mean, what do these points matter? What do these points equal? What do they matter to? Hold on, Kimosabe. You need 20 good years. I'll get the points, but this is another part of it. You need 20 good years. What is a good year? Any year where you make 50 points or more. Now you may be thinking, if I do just my drills and my member points, my 15, that's 50. Yes, you don't have to do an annual tour to have a good year. All your points help your retirement, but you don't technically need it. You're going to be doing it, but just so you know, like if something happens and you can't, if you miss like a drill or something, as long as you get 50 points for that year, that's a good year. You do that 20 times, you got 20 good years, you're now eligible for your pension or for retirement. So let me clarify that. If you had, let's say you had like a bajillion points, but you didn't have 20 good years.
You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
Doesn't matter. You're not retiring. You need 20 good years. Then once you meet that threshold, they say, all right, you've got your 20 good years. Let's see how many points you have. Then they do the calculation, which I'm going to go over next. Yes, this is kind of math heavy, but y'all asked for this. People been asking for it. So here we are. So what's the math? I'm going to make these numbers as simple as I can. However, I am going to cite the reg and the retirement as it stands currently so you know what it is. So you take the number of points you have, all your points. Divide that by 360. You know what? Let me take a step back. You have 20 good years. If you don't have 20 good years,
you're unworthy.
this conversation's not for you. Or if you're not doing 20 good years, this conversation's not for you. You have 20 good years. Cool. You've met the threshold. We can at least have this conversation. We're going to take the number of points you have, divide that by 360, and then times that by 2.5%. So to use round numbers, let's say you had 3,600 points, 3,600. We're going to divide that by 360. Ooh, that's simple. That becomes 10. What is 10 times 2.5? 2.5%, 25%. What is that percentage? The percentage of your base pay you're getting forever. What base pay? Whatever base pay you are when you retire. If you're an E7, you can go to the E7 pay. Let's say you did 20 years and you're an E7. Well, you're E7 for 20 years. I think the pay is like 5,000 and some change. You would get 25% of that forever. That's about it. Yeah, that's it. Now, some of you may be confused there, and if you click off now, please don't, because there's more to the story, more things you need to understand, so you can make an educated decision about this. Now, let me be clear: will you have 3,600 points after 20 years? Maybe. If you do just the bare minimum, which is those one one weekend a month, that one annual tour, and your member points, that's only like 1,500 points after 20 years. It's 78 times 20. It's 1,500 points. That's a poop retirement. I'm not gonna lie to you. However, if that's all you did, you probably didn't do much in your career. You get points for your correspondence course. That's like your ALS. That's what you take to make staff. Your NCOA, which would you take to make master sergeant, or E7, become a senior NCO. There's points you get for taking senior NCOA, which is what you need to make E8 or senior master sergeant. If you go to certain schools, they give you points for that too. If you deploy, you get a point per day. Like if you deploy as a 6-month deployment, that's 180 points right there. So it is your career is what you make it. Your pension is what you make it. I know people who have done 20 years and they're walking away with a chunky pension because they were constantly on orders, whether they were volunteering for things, whether they were going to deployments, they're constantly moving, they're building that career and they're having a good time in the process. If you want to be a curmudgeon or you just can't do it, you're like, I'm going to do the bare minimum, your retirement's going to be the bare minimum. I say all that to say that I've got a decent amount of time and I've got 10 years behind me and I've got, however many years I decide to do in front of me. My retirement, I'm not walking out of this making like $100,000. I'm not some 4-star general of the Pentagon, but it'll be a nice supplement, because again, this isn't a full-time job. I still have a full-time job that I do, which is hopefully going to provide some retirement. Maybe a Social Security exists when I retire, which I'm not sure it will. I'll have that too, but your reserve retirement is what you make it. The long and short of it is what matters is points. You got to do 20 good years before you're eligible for anything. Then you take your points, divide them by 360, times it by 2.5. Whatever that percentage comes out to, that's the percentage of your pay that you're going to get when you retire at 60. Secret sauce. If you stayed this late in the video, great, because I'm going to tell you, I'm going to put you on game. I'm going to give you the inside track from someone who's been around for a while. Typically, you collect your pension at 60. However, certain types of orders will reduce that age. So like typically when you deploy, let's say you deploy for 6 months, you're not collecting at 59 and a half. Deploy again, collecting at 59. Deploy again, collecting at 58, and so on and so forth. So I know people who have been in for 20 years, but they were in and out the door constantly. High deployment jobs. They were never home. Sucks, but when they retire, they're collecting in like their mid to early 50s because they were constantly going places. But that's something to consider. If you're thinking about joining, understand that you are joining to be part of the armed services. You do have a job to do. More likely than not, your job will require that you be away from home. You're probably going to deploy. Are there jobs that don't deploy? Yes, there are. Are there jobs that deploy constantly? Yes, there are. Should that be the main contributing factor to what job you pick? No, it shouldn't. It's the military. It's going to demand a lot of you and those around you and those who love you. And while it is very demanding, it is very rewarding. I've made some of the best friends I've ever had in my life, people that I'll be friends with to the day I die because of this uniform. Some of them it was like trauma bonding. We were in crap situations. We made the best of it. Others are just silly and funny people like me. I've had great conversations with people in uniform because there's a mutual respect and exchange of ideas. I wouldn't get us up for anything in the world, to be honest with you. There are parts of it that I can't stand. Like legitimately hate. They are frustrating. The other parts of it that, I get it. People put on that uniform, I get it. I do. I genuinely do. And I've talked about this in another video. I don't know when I'm putting it up, but as far as like why I joined, I did join for like really personal reasons, like going to school and direction in life and all that. But I enjoy what I do. I do. I enjoy what I do. I enjoy most of the people that I work with, and I have a lot of respect for this uniform. With that being said, um, thank you, all of you who watch this, who watched any of my videos. I try my best to be helpful, to deliver good information, and my hope or my thought is that this video gets to the right person at the right time, and it's helpful to somebody. And some of my videos have been, and I've seen comments that have really made my day. So if this video was helpful to you, share it with a friend. You got comments, feedback, by always leave them in the comments below. If there's something you want me to cover, if you want me to expound upon something or expand upon it, by all means, feel free. I'll put some resources down in the comments, like as far as the retirement calculator, so you kind of play around with that and things of that nature, so you guys can kind of fiddle around with it and get more comfortable with it. But that's the video, man. I thank you, all of you, because I mean, right now it's just me holding a mic from TikTok talking to the back of a camera, but the idea is that it helps somebody somewhere. I'll take it easy.